Let me hit you with something most men didn't want to hear. Women don't sit around thinking about the nice guy who bends over backwards for them. They think about the man who is different. The man who doesn't give them everything too easily. The man who knows his value and doesn't chase. That's the guy who gets stuck in her head over and over again. And here's the controversial. The more you try to make a woman think about you, the less she will. The harder you chase, the more she runs. Why? Because what's predictable is boring. And boredom is the fastest way to make her forget you exist. Now, listen carefully. A woman's mind is wired to crave curiosity, uncertainty, and emotional spikes. She doesn't replay conversations with the man who was available. She replays the moments with man who left her wondering, who ish really? Why isn't he texting back so fast? Why does he seem so calm, so in control, while every other guy is desperate for her attention? That's the secret. Women think non-stop about men will refuse to be ordinary. This video isn't about cheap tricks or manipulation. It's about understanding psychology. It's about shifting from being the man who's forgotten to the man who lives rent-free in her mind. By Fiend, you'll see why most men are invisible to women and why a select few dominate their thoughts without adventuring. So, if you've ever wondered why she ghosted you, why she pulls away, or why she suddenly lost interest, this is our wake-up call. What I'm about to teach you will either make you uncomfortable or set you free. The choice is yours. 1. Stop chasing. Start ignoring. Here's the hard truth most men hate to admit. The more you chase a woman, the less she wants you. The more you show her she's the center of your world, the faster she get bored and look for someone else. Chasing is a signal of weakness, of desperation, and women can smell that energy fromels away. Think about it. When you constantly text her, compliment her every second, and make yourself always available, what does that tell her? It screams that you've got nothing better going on in your life. And trust me, nothing kills attraction faster than aiming with no mission, no backbone, and not control. On the other hand, when you ignore the urge to chase, you automatically stand out. You communicate test drink without saying a word. You show her that you value yourself more than you value her approval. And that's when she starts thinking about you non-stop because suddenly you've created a gap she wants to fill. For example, imagine you text her and she doesn't reply for hours. Most men panic. They double text. They ask, "Did you get my message?" They act needy. But the man who stops chasing does the opposite. He puts his phone down, focuses on his life, maybe even goes to the gym, or works on his goals. Later, when she sees she hasn't begged for attention, curiosity eats her alive. Why isn't he blowing up my phone like other guys? Who is he giving his attention to? That's when she starts replaying you in her mind. The point is simple. Chasing makes you forgettable. Ignoring makes you unforgettable. If you want her to think about you all the time, stop feeding her constant attention, pull back. Let her feel the silence. That's when she'll start chasing you. 2. Silence speaks louder than words. Most men believe they can win a woman over by talking more, flirting harder, sending long messages, explaining themselves, or constantly reminding her how much they care. But there's their controversial truth. Silence often says more than 1,000 words ever could. Why? Because silence creates tension? It creates space for her to think, to question, to wonder what you're really about. Women are emotional creatures and their minds fill in the gaps. When you don't rush to explain, when you don't beg for attention, when you don't over-communicate, your silence leaves a mystery that words can never achieve. Now, silence isn't about playing childish games or acting cold for no reason. It's about control. It's about showing her that you don't feel the need to constantly prove yourself. When you master silence, you force her to lean in closer. She starts replaying what you said, what you didn't say, and what you might mean. That's when her thoughts circle back to you again and again. Let's say you're on a date and she tries to test you by asking, "So, what do you like about me?" Most men would rush into a list, her smile, her energy, her looks. But the man who understands silence takes a pause. He lets the question hang, gives her a slight smile, and then calmly answers, "I'll let you figure that out." Fatman of silence, the refusal to give her everything on a silver platter, drives her crazy. She think about it all night. What did he mean by that? Why didn't he just tell me? Remember this, silence isn't weakness, it's power. The loudest men are rarely the strongest. The strongest men don't need to speak every time. When you learn to use the silence wisely, you'll make her think about you non-stop because her mind will do the talking for you. 3 mystery beats, honest every time. Here's something most men don't realize. Being too honest too soon kills attraction. Yes, honesty is important in a relationship. But in the beginning, giving her your entire life story, your deepest feelings, and your every thought is a mistake. Why? Because once she knows everything, there's nothing left for her to wonder about. And when the mystery dies, so does her interest. Think about the times you've met someone who revealed everything about themselves in the first few hours. At first, it felt good to know them, but quickly there was nothing left to discover. Compare that to meeting someone who gave you just enough to spark curiosity, but kept the rest hidden. Who stayed in your head longer? Always the mysterious one. Women are no different. In fact, they're even more wired to chase mystery. A man doesn't tell her everything at onslaught space for her imagination to run wild. She analyzes your words, your actions, even your silence. She'll replay small details in her head, because she doesn't fully understand you yet, and that curiosity is what keeps her thinking about you long after you've left the room. Now, mystery isn't about lying or being fake. It's about discipline. It's about knowing that you don't need to reveal every detail of your past relationships, your financial or your exact feelings on Thescan date. You give her small pieces, enough to keep her hooked, but never the full picture. The truth is, women are used to men oversharing. They're used to guys trying to prove themselves with endless talking and constant reassurance. But when you hold back, when you let her wonder what you're really about, you instantly separate yourself from the crowd. Mystery is not about deception. It's about control. It's about letting her invest in figuring you out. And when she's busy trying to figure you out, guess what? She's thinking about you non-stop. Don't text back too fast. Men today have fallen into a trap. The moment a woman sends a message, they jump like trained puppies, replying within seconds, as if their entire day revolves around her. And then they wonder why she loses interest, why she doesn't respect them, and why she starts taking them for granted. The answer is simple. You made yourself too easy. When you reply instantly every single time, you're sending one clear signal. I have nothing else going on. You're basically littling her that your life is empty, that you're sitting around waiting for her to validate you. And let me be brutally honest with you, brother. No woman on this planet fantasizes about a man who has no mission, no priorities, and no discipline. She wants a man with a life, not a man glued to his phone. The problem is, many men confuse the attention with attraction. They think being available 24/7 will make her feel special, when in reality it makes you look desperate. The truth is, women respect time that isn't easily given. If she feels like you're always on a notification away from running to her, she won't value your attention. She'll abuse it. You need to wake up. Stop acting like her personal assistant. Stop dropping everything to send her an instant reply. A real man doesn't clearing his schedule to chase someone who hasn't even proven her worth in his life yet. A real man moves with purpose, and his phone is not his master. So here's the lesson. If you want her to think about you non-stop, stop making yourself predictable. Let her wait sometimes. Let her feel that your attention is rare, that it must be earned. Not handed out like free candy. Because the moment you stop being her instant gratification machine, you become the man she can't get out of her head. 5. Attention is her drug. Don't overdose. Her attention is like oxygen to a woman. It keeps her alive in the game of attraction. Compliments, likes in her pictures, constant validation, these things feed her ego and give her erish. But here's the dangerous part. The more you give it to her, the less valuable it becomes. Just like any drug, too much destroys the high. Most men don't get this. They think the more attention they pour into a woman, the more she like them. So, they shower her with endless praise, reply to every story, and remind her every day how amazing she is. But what actually happens? She becomes numb to it. Your attention loses its power because it's always available. Always predictable. Imagine a guy who tells her every morning, "You're beautiful." At first, it makes her smile, but by the fifth day, it's background noise. She doesn't even hear it anymore. Now, imagine another guy who notices her beauty, blatantly mentions it occasionally, and usually in a subtle, confident way. Suddenly his words carry weight. Cher plays them in her head because they weren't constant. They were rare, and rare things stick. This is where men need to wake up. Stop giving her endless doses of attention because all you're doing is lowering its value. A woman will never chase what's always in her lap. She chases what feels just out of reach, what she has to earn. The key is balance. You don't withdraw completely and act like a stonewall, but you also don't become her daily dose of free validation. You give her small hits at the right time, in the right way, and then you pull back. That's when she craves more. That's when she thinks about you non-stop because you've made your attention addictive instead of disposable. 6. Detach and she attach. One of the biggest mistakes men make is clinging too tightly to a woman. They believe that the more they show they care, the more she stay. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The tighter you hold on, the faster she slips away. Women don't fall for men who cling. They fall for men who can walk away. Detachment is powerful because it shows strength. It tells her without words that you are not afraid of losing her, and nothing gets into a woman's mind more than a man who doesn't beg to be kept. When you detach, you shift the balance of power. You stop chasing. And suddenly she's the one wondering, does she even need me? Why isn't he trying harder? That question eats at her. And that's exactly what makes her think of you non-stop. For example, imagine she pulls away and says she's too busy to see you. Most men panic. They blow up her phone, ask if something's wrong, and try to convince her to come back. But man who understands detachment does the opposite. He doesn't argue, doesn't beg. He calmly says, "All right, take care," and goes about his life. Guess what? She can't stop thinking about that night. Not the guy who begged, but the guy who let her go without flinching. Men need to wake up here. If you're terrified of losing her, you've already lost. Women attach themselves to men who didn't make them the center of their existence. When you detach, you're telling her, "I want you, but I don't need you." And that's exactly what makes her chase you harder. Detachment doesn't kill attraction. It creates it. The moment you stop holding in too tightly, she starts holding one tighter. That's the paradox most men don't understand. And until you master it, she never truly value you. 7. Walk away power. Nothing makes a woman respect a man more than his ability to walk away. Most men are terrified of losing a woman. They think if they hold in tight enough, if they compromise enough, if they beg hard enough, she'll stay. But here's the raw truth. The man who can walk away at any moment is the man who owns her mind. Why? Because walking away shows unshakable confidence. It tells her, "I am not afraid to lose you because I know my value." That's the kind of energy women can't resist. Deep down, every woman knows when a man is scared to lose her and she will test him. But the moment you prove that you're willing to walk away instead of tolerate disrespect, everything shifts. Suddenly, she sees you differently. You're no longer just another guy. You're the man she cannot control. Imagine you're dating a woman who constantly cancels plans last minute. Most men would complain, argue, or beg for her time. But the man with walk-away power doesn't waste his breath. He simply says, "If you're too busy, that's fine." And he stops making plans with her. He walks away without drama. Guess what happens next? She starts chasing. She realizes she's losing a man who won't tolerate being treated like an option. And suddenly he's the only one on her mind. Men need to understand this. Women don't respect men who stay no matter what. They respect men who are willing to leave when their boundaries are crossed. Walking away isn't weakness. It's ultimate strength. It's telling her, "I didn't need you to complete me. I choose you, but I don't depend on you." And here's the paradox. When you finally have the courage to walk away, that's when she fights the hardest to keep you, your silence. Your absence, your strength, those are the things Cher plays in her head non-stop. That's how you become unforgettable. 8. Make her compete for you. Here's something most men will never admit. They're scared to let women compete. They want to make everything easy, smooth and comfortable, thinking it will win her heart. But the truth is, when you remove the competition, you remove the spark. Women think non-stop about the man they have to earn, not the man who hands himself over for a free. Competition triggers desire. When a woman feels she isn't your only option, her mind races. She starts to wonder where she stands, if she's really special, if she's truly chosen. And that uncertainty is what makes her fight harder for your attention. Without competition, you become predictable, safe, and boring. With competition, you become valuable. Now, this doesn't mean you play games or try to make her jealous by being disrespectful. It means you live your life in a way that shows her you have options, that other women admire you, and that you are not desperate for her validation. The strongest attraction comes when she realizes you are a prize others would love to have. Picture this. You're out at an event with her, and other women naturally greet you warmly, maybe even compliment you. You don't have to brag or rub it in her face. You simply carry yourself with confidence, and women respond to that. Suddenly, the woman you are with sees it. She feels it. And immediately, her competitive nature kicks in. I need to make sure I'm Theon he chooses. That thought doesn't leave her head. Men, here's where you need to wake up. Stop acting like she's the only woman on earth who could ever want you. Stop begging for her attention like it's a rare gift. Show her by how you live and carry yourself that you are a man of value. When she sees that other women notice you, respect you, and even desire you, she won't be able to stop thinking about keeping you. Women don't want men every woman ignores. They want men other women admire but can't they've. Be that man and she never get you out of her mind. 9. Emotional roller coaster keeps her hooked. Here's a fact that will make some men uncomfortable. Women don't stay addicted to comfort. They stay addicted to emotional highs and lows. If every moment with you is calm, predictable, and safe, she start to lose interest. But if you can make her feel a range of emotions, excitement, curiosity, even a little frustration, she won't be able to stop thinking about you. Why? Because emotions are addictive. The brain remembers how someone makes you feel, not just what they say. When a woman lies with you, argues with you, then feels desired by you all in the same week, her emotions spike. And those spikes are what keep her coming back for more. It's not about drama. It's about energy, unpredictability, and passion. Imagine you cancel a date because you were genuinely busy working on your goals. At first, she feels disappointed, maybe even annoyed. But later in the week, when you surprise her by showing up with a confident smile and take her somewhere fun, her emotions swing from low to high. That contrast burns you into her memory far deeper than being nice and always available. Most men make the mistake of thinking they can win a woman by never upsetting her, by keeping everything smooth. But smooth quickly becomes dull. And dull is forgettable. You're not supposed to create endless chaos, but you are supposed to lead her throughout different emotional states. A woman who feels nothing will forget green days. A woman who feels everything will think of you constantly. Men, this is where you need to wake up. Stop being scared to rock the boat. Stop thinking you have to agree with her every word just to keep her happy. Challenge her, surprise her. Let her feel your absence seen than your presence. That's how you'll create the emotional roller coaster that keeps you living rent-free in her head. 10. Scarcity makes you valuable. Men ruin their value because they make themselves too available. They're always there, always ready, always waiting. And when you're always available, you become a common. You become ordinary. And nothing about being ordinary makes a woman think about you non-stop. Scarcity, on the other hand, makes you unforgettable. Scarcity is simple. What's rare is valuable. If every man is texting her good morning and good night, those messages mean nothing. But when you didn't flood her with the same predictable attention, suddenly she notices when you do give it. Your presence becomes special, your words carry weight, and your time feels precious. Women naturally chase what feels limited. They don't daydream about men who hand themselves over without resistance. They obsess over men who feel just out of reach. Scarcity creates tension, and that tension is what keeps you in her mind all day long. For example, let's say you don't text her for a full day because you're genuinely busy handling your life. The next time your name pops up on her phone, it's not just another message. It hits harder because she hasn't seen it in a while. She think about it longer, analyze it more, and even reread it because it wasn't constant. It was rare. Men, you need to hear this. Stop giving your time, attention, and energy like it's worthless. If you spend every waking hour chasing her, complimenting her, and proving yourself, she won't see you as special. She see you as desperate, but if you show her that your life is full, your time is limited, and your attention is something she has to earn, you instantly become valuable. Scarcity doesn't mean ignoring her completely. It means reminding her that you are not a man she can take for granted. And one Chesh feels that you'll be the thought you can't escape. Conclusion. Here, single quotes s the most controversial. Truth I leave you with. Own value. That's what most men refuse to accept. They want to believe bank nice guy who gives everything now. But the reality is the man who makes her feel uncertain, the man who withholds, the man who doesn't chase, that's the man who keeps her mind spinning day and night. So ask yourself, are you that man? Or are you still stuck being her backup plan, her comfort zone, her... A woman will only think about you non-stop when she realizes she could lose you at any moment. Not when you buy her gifts, not when you text her every morning, not when you bend over backwards to prove your love number. She only truly respects and obsesses over the man who doesn't put her above his.